What's your unique opening, Spud? Hit me with it. No pressure.
I had one. I was going to tell you about the dream stuff, but I already told you. So now I'm struggling.
Tell the listeners at home.
Oh, I've put down my phone. Oh no, I've lost it. No. VEDICFEED. An account on Instagram called Vedic Feed, which is quite good for all of those, those little silly sayings that you're supposed to take inspiration from. But there's this guy here. Look, I'm going to show the viewers. See him? He's a hunk, isn't he? Isn't he gorgeous? Look at him, surfer dude with his
wisdom
man bun and his
wise man beard.
Wise man beard, and his name is Rishi Vasistha, right? He goes by a couple of other names as well, but if you look him up, so Rishi, Rishi, Vasistha, so Vasistha. So he's meant to be one of the oldest head honchos of Vedic philosophy. Now, I haven't really looked him up all that much, but I looked him up quickly because I'm like, fucking hell, I know this. Who's this guy in my fucking dreams? Looks familiar.
Who's this hunk?
Who's this hunk in my dreams? Oh, he's so dreamy. And with his knowledge and his schlong.
Yeah. Wise man schlong. He just...
I'm reading one of the Jodorowsky's other fiction books, the Albina and the Dogman. God,
speaking of schlongs,
there's one character in it. He's what is the correct politically correct term for a short person?
I don't know anymore. I know what it used to be, but it's
So in the book, he's dwarf.
Dwarf.
I think we're not allowed to say that anymore. I think he's a short person.
Well, I don't know, because I remember then midget.
I don't know either.
Turned it, and you were saying no, you had to say dwarf. No harm intended. People who have dwarfism. There you go. That's the actual medical thing, isn't it?
So Jodorowsky spends a lot of time describing his schlong and just how giant it is for a man of his stature, and it's
he had both dwarfism and elephantitis.
And giantism, yeah. It's glorious. And then he kind of falls in love with not the main character, but the secondary character, who hates men. But then she sees his wrinkled scrotum and his giant donkey dong, and falls head over heels. No, it's I love Jodorowsky. It's just he's bonkers. But anyway, back to my dream. So
he's just not afraid to put up out his inner workings out there.
Not at all.
Yeah.
Great stuff. It's not as good as the first book, but because it's far more. It's proper fiction. It's not like the first fiction book of his is about his life, really.
All right.
This isn't about it at all. It's a proper work of fiction. But anyway, so your man Rishi has been coming to dreams of mine. He's been fucking with my head lately, and it's been the same two things. I was telling you before. It's like I remember describing a dream I had about Satan before to you, and he rises up in his cavernous cave, and I'm like, fuck off, get the fuck away from me, I want nothing to do with you. But this guy's pretty cool. He's nice, and he's talking to me, he's asking me questions, but the thing that I remember from the two dreams is that he asked me, are you willing to give it all up? So I take a moment to think about it, and I'm like, but everything I have, I don't own. I don't have control over this stuff. And it's like, if it's the family, they're all their own people. I can't give up things I don't own. Money's not mine. I don't have it. I don't own money. Do you know? I don't own anything, is what I'm trying to say to him. And so he's disappeared. And when I've given that answer 2 times, he's kind of disappeared. And I'm hoping that, well, I mean, if he didn't like it, he wouldn't come back a second time. So he's probably going to come back a third time. But
yeah, that's it though. That's it. You get 3 goes. That's how it works.
Thanks to talking with Tommy earlier. I think I kind of get now what he's pointing at, and it's more a thing of giving up the idea of yourself in this situation. Like I know I spoke to you a fair bit about what I like about that Sadhguru guy. Yeah. Even though he's dodgy as fuck when it comes to, but look him up and his property deals and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, he's a gangster.
Yeah.
He's a gangster.
Yeah, he's a gangster. Yeah. But I remember watching a video of his years ago, and he had this thing about, it's a bit like what Alan Watts said it as well. Alan Watts said something like, "You're under no obligation ever to be the same person you were 5 minutes ago." Yep. And I think that's great. And Sadhguru's thing is like, yeah, you just put on a hat, put off a hat, hat. be a different person in whatever role, or be the best person in whatever role is needed. So
because you're doing that anyway. It's just unconsciously. Like,
yeah. Well, sometimes you're putting on the completely wrong hat. You're being a douchebag.
Well, yeah, of course. Well, what I mean when you're doing it unconsciously is like if walk into a room with your mother and you have a different hat on than you walk into a room with your wife, or walk into someone who you went to school with 30 years ago.
Sure.
It's just a thing you're doing. Yeah.
So I think so. Thanks to what Tommy was saying to me earlier off air, when we were recording the other stuff.
All of my gold is off air.
Yeah, it's more like the idea of kind of giving up the idea of who you think you are in the situation you're in, kind of thing, you know? So it's just letting go of, yeah.
So when he comes back for the third time, you go, can you give up coming to me? How about that? Can you let go of this? And he will. That's the sad thing. He'll just go, yeah, no problem.
Bye.
Then you die and you go to Tantra Kevin and he's there and he goes, what the fuck, man? I'm trying
I wanted to be your friend.
Yeah, I'd loads to tell you. Your life could have been so much easier. Yeah, smart arse. Yeah. Now get to hell. You bad boy.
I have this sleep tracker thing on watch I got, and it's bad. I've noticed that since it's only a couple of weeks I have it, but over the fortnight and a bit that I've had it. It's when's the last time you heard the word fortnight? We should use fortnight far more often.
Oh, don't you hear it a lot though in the game, though, isn't it? It's not what it's called, Fortnite. So you hear
in the what?
There's a game called Fortnite, so it comes up quite regularly.
Oh, is there?
Yeah.
Right. I wouldn't know. I nearly bought a game the other day, and then I stopped myself going, "What the fuck am I doing? I haven't played a game in like 3 years, you idiot! What a waste of money that would have been." And
hold on. What was the game though?
Elder Scrolls, one of the fairly new ones where there's lots of boss fights and it looks kick-ass.
Oh, Elden Ring, yeah.
Elden Ring, that's the one, yeah. And I took a look at the price and went, what? Yeah. What? Games used to be 20 quid, what the fuck? Anyway,
games were never 20 quid. What?
Okay, when I was 10 maybe, you know. Yeah. Where now? 60, 70 euros? It's a fortune. Anyway, what was I on about?
You want to buy...
My dreams. No, before that.
Fortnite. Fortnite. We should use the word Fortnite more often. That's what got us off in the tangent.
Yeah. So I fall into like dream sleep or deep sleep really, really quickly. Like mad quickly. Like within the first half an hour, I'm just boom, I'm there. Right. Sorting out all the day's problems and everyone's working out. And then I have my REM stuff during the night, which is I think
shiny happy.
Shiny happy. Yeah, but less than average. I don't dream as much as average people, it seems. It's only 23% should be a bit higher. So I need to do something about that, I suppose. I don't know what though.
Is that because you're sleep apnea and you wake? You have a different cycle?
No, I don't wake as much anymore. You know, need to bring back your dream servitor. That's what it is. Tommy made me a servitor. I haven't used it in a while. That's what I fucking need to do.
Yeah, it'd be interesting. That'd be a good experiment to do a week. Well, now that you have the what's the word? The information that you had from the app when you didn't use it. Now, if you do use it for the a week, does it actually change?
It should change because I remember when I asked you to make it for me first, and I got it. I think for the first like two and a bit weeks, it was just every night, just boom, boom, boom. Well, I have a little dream journal. It's just full of stuff from then.
Right, you know? Cool.
Yeah, really cool. Yeah, so I need to get back dreaming.
I've been having that 3 o'clock sense of being stared at, waking up a lot. But it's an interesting kind of twist on it. It's really creepy. It's so creepy. Like I don't like it at all. Particularly, it happened the last time it happened really badly. I had gone into the wee man's room because he just wasn't settling. I just goes, I'll just lie here. I'm not coming back because I know he's I'll just get into bed and he'll be calling me again. But then he woke up around 3 and it was in his room and I go, oh no, I don't like this.
No, don't come in here.
Don't this. But the sense that I got to it is it's not that something's coming here. You're bringing something from your dream out, and it's like that it's a reflection of that or something rather than someone. And I goes, yeah, that's what a demon would say. Oh, it's really your fault in your dreams. Yeah, it's super odd. But it's because like it's not just the house, because like I've been in his room loads of times and I don't have it, so it's just that kind of. But I suppose from a very non-woo thing, it could be that you're coming out of a certain dream cycle and you're being interrupted, and because there is that thing where people, my mum certainly had it, that if she woke up in the middle of a nightmare, that she doesn't fully wake and she'll, like the dressing gown will be the demon, but she actually sees it, that there is that kind of middle. But I don't know. I mean, these are all of these kind of things that are to excuse away, what people see. As Rupert Sheldrake would say, show me your evidence that this is what's actually happening, rather than, it's Occam's razor, that it's definitely not a demon. It's, it's a coat. Could have been a demon for a while. Yeah. If you need, something for these things to manifest, be that incense smoke or a black mirror, some sort of thing, why not? It's a dressing gown, whatever.
There's a cool thing that I don't remember which one it was. One of Gordon White courses I did, and it spoke about two really cool things about dreaming. And I did one of them actually last week. He didn't. I don't remember him saying which tribe it was, but maybe it's a few of the tribes, the Native American tribes. When they would have like a meaningful, spiritual dream, they'd write a song about it.
All right, cool.
Yeah. So I went back to my old Carl Jung thing with the Disco Biscuits. Fucking wrote a song, 3-chord song. It's fucking deadly. You know what I mean?
Nice.
I must record it and play it for you or something. It's funny. I was like, do you know what it was? It was Reddit or something. Yeah, Reddit, and it showed Tenacious D's first appearance on.
Oh, before
telly,
before
they were famous, Well, Jack Black was always famous. Well, not always famous, obviously, but it was their first thing, and and it has what's the guy from the Matthew Broderick? Isn't that it?
Ferris Bueller.
Steve Ferris. Steve Bueller's. Ferris Bueller's Day Off, and he's reading out the thing, and he's like, I have to read this thing, and he's trying not to laugh during it, and then Tenacious D get up and do the song, and I was like, fuck, I'm going to do a Tenacious D style song about Carl Jung, about me taking drugs with Carl Jung.
Nice.
And so I must record it and play it for you now, because I've built it up. And
better be awesome. But it better be better than Grant Morrison's John Lennon song. So that's all I'm saying.
It is better than that. I can safely say it's better than that. I can safely say it is definitely better than that. But it's just 3 songs. It's just like a Ramones. Well, it's not a Ramones song, but anyway, you'll hear it eventually. I thought that's a really fucking cool idea, and it works as well in the same kind of Jodorowsky idea of ritualizing events in your life, and it's taking the subconscious, unconscious, whatever the fuck it is, and bringing it forth out into the world and saying, yeah, I recognize you, cool, I've done something about it, let's work on this together, kind of thing. I really like that. The other thing that he mentioned in the course was this thing that, like, I know he's the type of chap, he's very down on the West. He doesn't like the way that the West does things, blah, 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 blah. We go back to the golden age of blah, 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 whatever. But it's this idea that blah, blah, blah. It's blah, this blah, idea blah, blah. Of, go live in fucking Tasmania and raise warthogs or whatever the fuck it is you do. Ignore the rest of us while you build your tower of ivory and look down upon us fucking minions who send you money, Anyway,
so tell us how you really feel.
No, it's this idea of the shamanic people, or people who would have shamans, druids and stuff would fall into this as well. That they didn't see dreams in the way we see them, because like what you were saying earlier, or even what I was saying earlier as well, it's kind of like, a dream, it's just a dream, and it's like, no, they used to say, no, shit, that means something, fuck, I got to think about this, and I have to kind of integrate it into the life, or it's telling me something about my life that I need to kind of do. And it's like, Jesus, I really like the idea of being more attuned to what we're dreaming about. And even if it's just like sitting there for a minute or two in the morning, just say, what's that mean? I'm not having a clue, but at least recognizing that there's something there that's telling you, whether it's just...
Carl Jung's thing about it, he called them big dreams. And everyone know what a big dream is. Everyone does, because we've all had them. And it's like, so it's the difference between, my dad turned into a Mars bar and then he was a spider. And you go, right, that's obviously something, whatever your brain is just going, yeah, come on, peanut butter. What? Yes. Peanut butter fingers. But then you have, I'm with my dad, then it's the moon. And somehow the moon is also my heart. And you go, hold on, you should look at that. There's something there.
Yeah.
But there's a sense of, I don't know, gravitas or something. There's a feel that's, even, it feels, there's almost like a tactile quality to that they're real, But obviously dreams are so ephemeral that you just kind of. I remember trying to write them down all the time. Like I'd wake up in the middle and write them down. And one night I had this amazing dream, and I was brilliant, and I write it down. But what I actually did was wrote it down on the same page that I wrote the previous night's dream. So I ruined both of them. But seemingly the best thing is to have a tape recorder or whatever. Can you imagine waking up 3 o'clock in the morning? And your wife decides you go, I have a sense that there's someone in the room with me. My father is also my heart and a moon. Slap. Back sleep.
Shut up, will you?
What are you on about? What's going on? I can't sleep now.
You want to do it? No!
No, of course not.
It's worth a shot, honey. I love you. Love you. Night.
Love you. Yeah. Just imagine how powerful a magician you could be living in a cave all by yourself. Do anything you want. You'd have no, of course, if you're in a cave, you wouldn't be able to recharge the tape recorder, so you'd be just talking to a dead flat battery going, I wish I had batteries. So it's
ordered the solar panels. Fucking Johnny in the next cave got him, the prick.
It's just never ideal, so you just may as well take it where you find yourself. Yeah. 8 out of 10 cave dwellers agree.
Said to you before as well. I don't believe in prophetic dreams. Where do you stand on them?
What definition of prophetic?
Well, no, I mean the future telling. Future telling.
I've never had one. Having said that, there's definitely evidence of people having them and it coming true. So I wouldn't discount it. That's probably the way. But I definitely would try my best. If I had a dream that seemed to be telling me something about the future, I would try my best not to buy into it so much. Because the nature, we've talked about this a million times, the nature of prophecy is that it makes sense of something that will happen if it is prophetic. Not that it can tell you what's going to happen. You will only understand it once the event is happening. It's the key to that event, how to navigate your way through that, rather than, I don't know. Things have certainly happened where I've had dreams and then forgot about them or not aware of them, and then something will happen the next day. Go, the goldfish. Oh yeah, that's mad. So there's definitely some sort of time doesn't exist. Obviously, we all know this. That can happen, that's interesting. But it's like there was never a point where I had a dream. I went, I'm going to see goldfish, and then there's goldfish. It's only after the event or whatever. But Carl Jung saw World War One. Although he didn't know until World War One happened what it was, though he thought it was something completely different. But then
it's not like he tried to stop it or anything.
Well, what could he? You're not going to stop it, are you? It's not. Hold on, I have a plaque. A placard to stop the war. What war? The one that's happening in a few years that that everyone knows is going to happen because it's pretty obvious. But people say Carl Jung was the only one who knew. That's strange.
Well, I mean, all he had to do, he could have taken the train to Serbia, just replaced all the bullets with potatoes, little potato-sized bullets, and then Franz Ferdinand wouldn't have been killed, and we'd still be living under the oppression of the Austro-Hungarian Empire.
Yeah, I mean, awesome. Equal hell, just in a different wrapper. So yeah.
It'd be very baroque, though. I mean, give that to the Austro-Hungarians. Everything looked nice.
That is true. It would be a very, very aesthetically pleasing dystopia. But who's to say Carl Jung didn't change something? You see, we're now enduring Carl Jung's changing of the timeline. So this is the world Carl Jung wanted.
I don't know, man. I'm a bit more on the side of Philip K. Dick. The more and more I read of him, that exegesis book. It's his fucking red book. You know what I mean? And it's
his thing
terrifying.
Is all timelines are now, isn't it? So he had a life in Rome that was concurrently happening at his life in 1970s, and that.
And there was future one as well.
Future is now. It's not that it's past lives. It's all. That's essentially it, isn't it?
Yeah. He had a thing where one of the first kind of events that synchronicities that happened to him was he had his 1 or 2 wisdom teeth taken out. And he was sitting at home waiting for the prescription drugs to arrive, which is well done, America. That's fucking awesome. I don't need to go to the chemist. The chemist will bring me drugs. Yes, land of the free, wonderful. school shootings. No.
No.
I don't have kids. I'm all right. So this the girl from the shop comes up and she has a Christian fish thing, and he's like, and he just felt this overload of information.
It shines slightly.
Glistened, of course.
Hits his eye. Yeah.
And he has this like download of fucking information, which is how he describes kind of a lot of stuff, how he gets his stuff during trances or dreams or whatever. It's just this. Alan Moore has a thing as well, just boom, and it's there.
There it is.
And he has this information. But the lads who put together the exegesis of Philip K. Dick, they said he wrote 900 pages on this one event.
Right.
And the theory that they put forward is that he had to, let me make sure I get this right now. He had to give up himself through words, to surrender himself through his use of words to make sense of it. Right, a lot of people, something will happen and they'll go off to the forest and they sit down and meditate and they think about whatever. But Dick's only way of doing this was like he had to just vomit the words out, just get it out of his system so it would make sense. And like there's bits of it where he's like, this isn't making sense anymore, which means I'm getting somewhere.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I like that.
You know? Yeah, it's pretty cool. Like the more and more I read it, because like I just thought he was just a science fiction writer, but the more and more I'm reading about him now, it's more like, shit, man, he was onto something. You know, he definitely had
something
that mystical visions, which are which I think could be just as important as the greats. You know,
is it just because it's just the drug element that people kind of discounted? Is that?
Probably so, and probably as well. Like there is, you know yourself, there is people look down on science fiction writers, kind of stuff. There's not that there's like there are science fiction books that are seen as literature, but a lot of them aren't.
it's the same, yeah. But it's the same thing, I suppose, as the looking down at comics or I don't know, fantasy in general as well. That it's like it's childish in a sense, you know. So it's to be discounted, but like lots of the secrets are hidden in them. So and they're it's. And the thing about science fiction, of course, is that it's never talking about the future, ever. It's always talking about now.
Yeah.
And,
of course.
I don't know. I think probably because it came from that pulp magazine throwaway, whatever it was, penny a word stuff or whatever. Yeah. You can see that the history. But the same as again going like comics ago. It's like it doesn't really matter where it started, but it matters where it is now. You know, it's like game like computer games. Like they were for kids originally or whatever. But they're not now, you know, and it's, I think they kind of discount someone like Philip K. Dick because he was a science fiction writer and not, I don't know, wrote about, I don't know, trees. What would be more acceptable? Or who's like James Joyce? He wrote actual stuff. Well, I was going to compare to James Joyce and go that there's at least he wrote sense. But I mean, the exegesis probably isn't probably on the same level as James Joyce for some of it. But yeah. I wouldn't know. I mean, but again, there's a thing that happens, I suppose, in the occult circles as well, is that people discount fiction in general. And I can kind of have to attest to that, but I sometimes feel that it's an indulgence that you're reading fiction. I really should be reading something proper, you know.
I don't agree with that at all.
Yeah, I know you know, and I don't agree with it, but I find myself doing it.
Yeah.
Because like you'll definitely things will but it's like click in your head quicker with fiction than necessarily
isn't it funny? It's kind of like, you know, occult people will be like, oh no, I can't, no, I'm not going to read fiction, but like I'll read the Celtic myths.
Yeah, that's not fiction, man. It's true story.
Do you know?
Or the other thing is, I won't read fiction, but I'll watch the latest occult TV show.
Yeah.
But I suppose there is a thing as well, though, like that you want your entertainment to be related to your interests, and if you've only a certain amount of time to read, that you want to read a certain thing, and fiction can be seen as a luxury in that sense. But I don't know. I try my best not to think like that, but I do find myself doing it. Like I recently read Flowers for Algernon, written in the 60s. One of the greatest experiences I've had with a book in my life. It's wonderful, you know what I mean? It's like. And I could have very easily just not have had that because, maybe I should be reading more Carl Jung, you know. But like, you're never going to read all the books you want to read, so may as well.
No, I think, the way I do it is I think it's good to have. Well, now it's usually 2 or 3 books on the go, but like, there's always one. One is always fiction, or even a comic. You know what I mean? Just to make sure one is always not the heavy stuff.
Yeah, I used to have a system, but broke down. One was a biography, one was fiction, and one was whatever I normally read. But for some reason that just fell away.
As well, one of the things that I thought is it's selfish of mine. It's just that like fiction is written so much better than the vast majority of occult books. God, they're so boring. A lot of them. It's just information. You know, rather than like that Sheldrake book. Merlin Sheldrake's book about the mushrooms. Oh, jeez, it's a masterpiece of just written language.
Oh, right, really cool.
It's not like other books on the subject at all, which can be very dry and boring. Like, it's just like he's struggling for words here, but he's very much the wordsmith, which I am not.
He's very articulate, unlike myself. Yeah.
Exactly. Very, very good.
I must read it then, yeah.
No, God, yeah, I'd say it's even better as an audiobook, because it's the language in it is lovely. Really, really good stuff.
Well, here's the thing about audiobooks versus normal books. Aion came out, or Aion, a couple of months ago, but it didn't come up my radar. Loads of Carl Jung has come out on audiobook. I said, right, I'll have that. I'll have a look at that. God, it's much more easier to digest in an audiobook until the last 3 chapters where you just go, this does not work as an audiobook at all, because which is interesting, because he starts talking, there's loads of diagrams and stuff. I don't remember this from when I read Aion, which is interesting. It's a pyramid on top of a pyramid, so it looks exactly like an octahedron.
Yeah, everything is a 4.
He calls it a quattrero, or whatever he calls it, whatever. And I was going, oh, cool, because this is, links in with the stuff that Black said to me about the octahedron and stuff like that. And I've gone, oh, that's interesting, that I never... that didn't register in my head at all. But in the audiobook, he's trying to explain that, and you go, yeah, come on, no chance. This is working. The top and the bottom, go to your PDF, and you go like, no. But the first 10 chapters, whatever it is, and you kind of go, this is not difficult at all. But it's what the reason, I think, is because when you're reading a book and some paragraph and you're just going, what? You're looking at it and go, I'll deal with that tomorrow. But if it's an audiobook, it just kind of happens and it's gone. So you're on to the next thing. So you know. So I think if you do struggle with a book and you get it, you're definitely going to get more out of it. But if you're like kind of looking for the overall flavour or the overall thing, it's easier to digest the bigger picture, not the detailed stuff, with an audiobook. So it's I'm going to read or go to the red book again now without all the footnotes. That's the next one, because I think it'll probably read a bit better than it did. Good. But I want Cosmic Trigger 3. I haven't got around to that. It's just so much.
It's good, yeah. I'm about halfway through. Yeah, it's good, yeah. Of course it's good. It's Robert Anton Wilson. Of course it's good. Yeah, it's great. What a guy. Jesus Christ, what a legend he was.
Right.
He has a bit about pride, which wouldn't go down well these days if it was written now.
Oh, you see, he's... certainly problematic. He also has for a guy who lived in Ireland, he's a very twee kind of version of Ireland.
A very twee version of Ireland, he really does, yeah. But a lot of Joyceans are,
Yeah, I suppose that
which is mad, because Joyce fucking hated Ireland.
Speaking of all this, we go into our Irish facts phase, because it actually ties in nicely with what's something we've been talking about and all of this. My fact for this week is that Freud, according to the film The Departed and the internet, said about Ireland, I get the exact quote. He basically says that Irish people do not need to be psychoanalyzed. What is it? I had the exact quote here now. This is one race of people for whom psychoanalysis is of no use whatsoever. No, Bono has a quote where he's going, yeah, that's exactly right. Seemingly he didn't ever say it though, but this is the thing, that no one can find where the quote is, but it's one of those things that comes across as, or is often touted as his. As something he said, but it might have been someone who said after. And it's kind of people were kind of saying that, well, if he didn't say it, he should have said it, because it's probably the only true thing that's ever been said that Freud ever said. So it's kind of idea what it is, that rather than Irish people sitting there talking about their things, to do what we were talking about, they express themselves through poetry and art and come out in that kind of way. But what he missed, of course, is they also express themselves through heavy drinking, domestic violence. Handing off shadows to the next generation, not learning from the past, And in fact,
the art of bullshitting.
Yeah.
Which we've perfected as a nation.
So while it's kind of nice, we no use. You could actually see it as a slur too, in the sense he's going, "There's no use to them because they'll never work it out."
Yeah, they're nuts. They're bonkers. Nuts. It's not good to them. Yeah. You know, they're too far gone.
So I'm going to put this down as another Freud. Perhaps if you even did say it, we got that a bit wrong. And it's coming from that kind of twee look at Irish people as well. Top of the morning, yeah. I'm too busy having fun to worry about my mother, whatever it is. You know, the relationship I had with my father. Oh no, it's grand. Come here till I hit you. So that was my Irish fact. I suppose it's not, you know. It's kind of, this isn't a fact. He didn't say it, so there you go. Now for... I
have an Oscar Wilde one if you want.
Oh, cool. Yeah, go for it.
Yeah. Oscar Wilde, I'll read it out to you. Shortly before publishing his only novel, The Picture of Dorian Gray, Wilde took over a Victorian magazine called The Ladies' World, which was a women's fashion magazine at the time.
Women's World, or Women's Way, or any of those.
Get this. Yeah. How did you know that?
No, I didn't. I just could have said, is it like those magazines that are...
No, wait for this.
Okay.
So, called The Ladies' World, which featured on its cover a female figure on a pedestal, holding a book in her left hand while gazing at her own image in a mirror. Renaming it The Woman's World. Yeah. The new editor. Now, The Woman's World is a magazine that was very, very popular in Ireland in the 80s and 90s among the IFA women, which is the Irish Farmers Women's Association. Isn't that it?
Something like
that. Not the IFA.
Yeah.
What's it called? IFLA, Irish Farmers Ladies Association, something like that. And so country women, rural women, everyone bought this Woman's Way because it was light and there's no dirt in it, no filth. No. And there would be book reviews and a bit of fashion and
children's
poems.
page at the end.
Yeah, children's page at the end.
You know, bit of poetry by some 7-year-old. So something.
And that was it. So he renamed it The Woman's World. And he removed the front page goddess and elevated gossip columns. So thanks, Oscar Wilde, for giving us gossip columns in The Woman's Way.
It was like a really kind of early, quite sanitized attempt at what became, you know, the gossip rags later on. Like
Rupert Murdoch. We've Oscar Wilde to thank for Rupert Murdoch. Yeah. That's it.
It's like Biddy from Glenroe admits she doesn't like cheese. You know, that kind of level of thing. Or,
yeah.
Exactly that. Has never worn a dress. You know, it's just like, who cares? Biddy. But I mean, Biddy was big news in Ireland at one stage. She was certainly taught Ireland a thing or two. Glenroe.
The Yanks haven't a clue what we're on about.
Oh. Good. All you need to know about Glenroe is that it was a reminder that you hadn't done your homework.
Yeah.
So for the Irish lesson, this week, it's going to be, do you understand? Because I think it's an apt one for use around here. And it's on Tiggan too. Now, the interesting thing about this is the Tiggan is a DT sound, or spelt. So if you were looking at it, you'd be on Daigan too, but it's Tiggan. At least that's how I learned it.
Yeah, so I say.
And the answer is Tiggum. I understand. Or Nihigum. See the way it changes. That's how it gets you. It's Higgum and Tiggum, Nihigum. But it's the same word. So and Tiggan Shiv. Shiv's a great kind of it's you plural. Like, I mean, I enjoy that there is one of them in Irish. You know that
use.
Yees. Why?
User.
Like, was there a meeting where to go? Let's have all the words in the world, loads of too many words in English, but not a word for something that people will use 20 times a day. Just not. Let's not do that. Why? Just quiet, all of you.
English. I think English is one of the few languages that doesn't have a word for the day after tomorrow. We have to say the day after tomorrow.
The following day. Is that what we said?
But that's still not. Not one.
No. The next day. There is a thing as well that people have debates about. If I was saying to you next Friday, is that this coming Friday or the Friday after Friday?
No. We always follow over this. Now, as far as I'm concerned, it is the next Friday.
I would also say this.
That's an Irish thing.
Yeah.
Whereas in Poland, next Friday means not in this week, you idiot, the next week. So why did you say next?
Yeah,
it's like it's literally the next Friday.
Why not say Friday week, like a normal person?
Friday week.
Oh,
yeah.
The following Friday.
Yeah.
The one that follows after the next.
Yeah. After the next one. So it's next, double next Friday. Yeah. That's what you're talking about. I'm talking about like the next Friday.
Yeah. Just give me a date. You imbecile. Is it the 9th or the 17th? Which is it?
Bloody watch. My watch does American dates. It fucks me up, so it does. The watch says 7-5. It's like, no, it's 5-7. No, it's 6-7. 7-6. What? No, wrong.
So the final bit of this, if you were saying I don't understand, you would say nihigam, or you could say nihilissigum. I don't know. Yeah. Neil ahissigum is what it's saying on this webpage. Well, I've never put the A. Nihilissigum. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm taking to nihigam, nihilissigum. What? I'm taking to Sha. Yeah, higam. Yeah.
Sha. So, higam. Yeah. Where are you on the dig it thing? I don't believe it.
What's this?
So it apparently, I heard this on Sean Moncrief, or maybe it was in one of his books.
Oh, well, it's definitely true then. Sean said it. When
dig it, or dig it, yeah, man, I dig it. When this was popular,
right, yeah.
When this was a popular thing in 70s America, wouldn't it, among black people? It's the etymology of this is supposed to come from the not the Irish slave owners, because there weren't many Irish slave owners in America, but usually the Irish worker was fucking whip holder.
All right.
And so, the paddies came over to America, couldn't speak much English, but they were given jobs by the white Protestants and the English and the Americans, and they would be like the slave masters and stuff, and they would like, Tiggin! And then the black slave would answer, dig it, I dig it,
Right.
Apparently, this is one of the versions of it now. I don't. Some people
that
say
sounds so ludicrous that it could be true.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. So like it's pretty much like half the people say that is the etymology, and then the other half are like, don't be fucking ridiculous.
Yeah. I've learned that just because something is utter ridiculous doesn't mean it isn't true.
Yeah, well, exactly. Yeah.
There was another fact that I came across. I just can't find it now. Where at one point there were. Depending on where I read this, at one point there was as many people speaking in Irish in Canada as there was in Ireland because of migration, and they kept it up, and we didn't. But it's that's since
You heard? I presume you've heard the Newfoundland accent, yeah?
No, I'm not sure I have.
I mean, look it up later. It's like a Wexford accent.
Oh, really?
Nice. Yeah, it's like a bogger Wexford accent. It's very bizarre. Very, it's far more Irish than what Boston would be.
Right,
stuff like that. Yeah, far more.
Isn't it interesting that the people say, about the accents in America are closer to the English accents when they moved over than the English accents are now in England?
Right.
So the American accent is kind of, obviously it has progressed and moved on, but it's kind of like what English people used to talk like when they sailed over.
Jesus, that's nuts.
Yeah. Again, I read that on the internet. Is that true? I don't know. I was watching recently, my friend Travis from Skinwalker Ranch, the greatest American, I don't know, what is he? I was going to call him a psychic. He's not a psychic, he's a physicist or astrophysicist. But he also did a TV show about Tesla. And just gone through it. It's gold. It's gold. It's like how to make a conspiracy out of anything. Wasn't
there something I'm going to have to ruin it for you now. There was something uncovered by him not that long ago that he's a bit like your man Lou.
Oh, he works for government.
Lou with the
Because he had to say it in this season of Skinwalker Ranch because he had to go and do his actual job.
Oh, right, really? Yeah, because he's some part of one of the military wings.
Yeah, he always says it was. I work with the government for the government. But yeah, it actually came up in this one. In one way, I kind of go, that's cooler. But it just, that so he's a legit, to take him seriously. But it just means that whatever he's talking about Skinwalker Ranch is rubbish.
No, he's a plant. He's a plant now, you can't trust him anymore.
They're talking, Reddit. Go to Skinwalker Ranch for Reddit. It's delightful. But it's like, oh, he shouldn't come back after all of this. It's a scandal. Oh, they don't know how to take it. It's going, if he goes, that's the end of that show. He's the best thing about it.
Of course.
I really want him and his amazing accent and his excitement. But he's doing it with Tesla as well, and to go to this the hotel where he died or whatever, and it's safe or whatever, and to go in, and it's a tiny hotel room, and the three lads and the hotel owner are there going, it's just the room.
This it?
And Travis goes, there's prison cells bigger than this. And he goes, and how long did he spend here? 10 years. 10 years! He couldn't hide anything in here. Oh, there's tunnels. He could have hid stuff in tunnels, so to go down into tunnels. It's brilliant. Oh, it's so good. It's so not true, but it's brilliant. Because they get talking to the main Tesla guy of the museum, and they're saying, what about the fact of this? And he's going like, where'd you read that?
Yeah.
Who said that?
Wait, so now they think that, okay, so nothing of Tesla's was taken by the government?
Oh no, they totally believe everything was taken by the government.
All right.
It was just
But he works for the government.
Look.
Why is he doing a double bluff on us? Fuck.
Watch it, and they have some very convincing and compelling evidence why it's true.
Is it a series or a one-off?
Oh, it's like a 10-part Skinwalker Ranch type thing that obviously they didn't have enough for a second season. But Skinwalker Ranch is getting intriguing. I'm enjoying it. They're digging holes. There's smoke. There's smoke going somewhere. There's water disappearing somewhere.
Batteries still run out, yeah?
Every time they go to do something, the cameras break, all of the machinery breaks, whatever, apart from the cameras that are filming them. It's strange. It's so strange that it's so specific.
Yeah.
Not once have the film cameras broken.
It's got a kilometre length lead plugged into it,
Yeah. Oh, but there's people collapsing all over the place, ending up in hospital. It's brilliant. I love it. But I love it. I'm not going to pretend I don't. But did you ever watch The Secret of Oak Island? That one where they're drilling.
Yeah.
Or they're essentially wrecking an island or whatever.
Yeah.
It's better than that because at least occasionally something happens, and it has a good history of rather than two millionaires destroying an island. But anyway, yeah, I don't know how you can pay $10 a month to become an insider on Skinwalker Ranch, and you get access to the feeds, the live feeds, and other stuff that you'll never watch.
Like the camera feeds, security camera feeds.
Security camera feeds, yeah. But you have to pay for a year. You can't just do it for a month. Anyway, enough Skinwalker Ranch. Watch it if you haven't watched it. It's brilliant. There's 3 seasons of it now. Awesome. I mean, in a ancient aliens type thing. That's where we're going.
Don't take it seriously.
Yeah. Okay, the foundational magic stuff. It's this number 5, number 4. So we're so on top of this, aren't we? Yeah. So we decided what we would do is I was going to say essential books. That's what I put it to you as. It's what's essential books that we could do. But I've changed my mind in that here's a list of books that if you think like me and want to and have the same interests and are convinced by the same things as I am and want to think about the things that I think about, then these are the books that you should read. If you want to learn stuff that is suited to yourself, there might be other books that are worth reading. So essential is probably not the best word. It's what I found helpful, and that if I was going to give some books to my 10-year-old self, what I give them.
Right. See, that's funny because what Tommy was telling me during the week is that he was going to call his list of books, if you don't read this list of books, then you are a lesser person than I am.
Well, I mean, that is what I'm saying. I'm just trying to be nice about it.
He was having a bad day. It was Monday morning, in fairness.
Yeah. If you want to be just like me, and why wouldn't you?
You should have went in closer on the camera.
Yeah, I used to be able to do that with the NVIDIA broadcast images, but I'm using OBS now. It's less fun, but it works better.
Yeah, it does work better.
Right, so I'm sure there's going to be some overlap here between mine and Spud's, and Spud hasn't shared his with me because when I shared mine with his, he went, "Oh yeah, must do that." Yeah,
fuck, I need to do that.
The first, and there's going to be a bit of a trend here. You will notice, people. The first book, I would say that it's the one I recommend to everyone who says, "What's the first book?" is Advanced Magic for Beginners by Alan Chapman.
Ta-da! I have it too. Yeah.
Why do I recommend this? I think it is a great approach to magic, and I think it's very practical. and I think it explains things very well while still retaining a lot of the woo and his rationale behind it. Now, the further you go into it, and it talks about like 2012 and stuff like that, so it's definitely not dated, but it's a book of its time too. He's also 26, 27 when he wrote it, and so maybe doesn't agree with everything that he has said in it since, and he definitely has progressed in a different kind of direction. But I don't think there's anything in Advanced Magic for Beginners that isn't true or useful, or like, I mean, it might be re-looked at and expanded on, or kind of, but there's no blinds, it's not going to point you in the wrong direction.
Yeah, agree with everything you've said there, and I think it's a good one to go back to now and again as well.
Yeah, because it's just like, oh yeah, I remember that. Why aren't I doing that?
Yeah.
But it just gets you to because there's an awful lot of problems with people. Problems, that's too heavy. An awful lot of things that happen to people when they get into the cult is they get a bit scared because of the scaremongering of, oh, don't call up demons, Christianity, don't play with magic at all. And so there's an awful lot of where people will seek permission to do something. Can I use this sigil to do this? Whereas the Advanced Magic for Beginners, it's all about do it. Just do it and see what happens. And then do something else and see what happens. So it's like, do a sigil for finding a banana. And get the, if you get the banana, don't get the banana. If you do get the banana, decide that sigil now means I'm going to get an orange and see what happens. What is it, the thing that happens? What it's trying to find what the actual agency of magic. That's the way I usually put it, but that's not technically right. The reason why magic works. So what is it for you, or what is it? And it's doing the thing, or thinking about it, and rather than this kind of seeking permission, or am I doing it right? It's about allowing yourself to do it wrong, because that's how you know how to do the right things. So yeah, I think it's his own definition of magic in it. There's lots of exercises. He's funny. He's a bit irreverent. People who don't know think he's an old man in his 60s. I've heard that from so many people. I'm quite shocked to see Alan Chapman. A lot of people don't like him, his attitude though, and they can find it very hard to read him. That he comes across. Is smart horse the right kind of? There is a almost condescending feel people get from, which I can understand, but I don't. But I don't get that from the book. Yeah. But yeah, I can see where people will get it as well, though. Yeah. Yeah, so that's my number. If anyone wants a first book on magic, that's what I would always. And as Spud pointed out, that could be your 20th book on magic too. Just because I would. It's one that you should read through every now and again, even if you've read. I read back on it there a while ago, and I remember I found a bit in it. He's talking about non-duality, and I had written down on it, non-duality. What the fuck? Yeah. But then reading it back like a second time. Yeah, it's yeah. I did I get more of it? I probably did get more of it the second time. Or at least when you read through, you go, oh, yeah. I know what he's on about now. Yeah. Because it was the first book I ever read on any of this, so I didn't. Get a lot of it. I assume so. If it's the one I recommend, I assume I recommended it for you too. Yeah. So Stealing the Fire was the Stephen Mason was a really early one for you as well. We read that too, but that was my first cum kick. Home cake, yes. That was interesting. Yeah. All right, what we got next? Do you want to do one? I don't really have them in any order. Let me see. I'm going to pick out one that's really good here. Let's go with the old trusty. I have a lot of books here. Look how many. Look. Nice. We won't get through them all. This one, Bhagavad Gita. Yes. By Nicholas Sutton. It's amazing. So it is. Don't know why I put it off for so long. Look at all these notes I have written here. Look, whole page of where I have to go on the book to find stuff. Just my innards just go. Oh, what has he done to his precious book? I bought it on. It was on Polish eBay. It was like 20 euros or something. No, it's 25 zlotys, which whatever that is, like less than 5 euros or something. For not, I don't know why it's so cheap, but it's great. It's I don't know where to start with the Bhagavad Gita. I really don't, because it's just there's so much in it, and there's an awful lot I learned from it. Really is an awful lot I learned from it, because like you'd read say like Ingram's book, and he might talk about the different stages of say meditation, or the different things like gunas, jhanas, and they're all in this and explained like really succinctly. Easy to understand, rather than 10 paragraphs,
about what should happen when this happens, what should happen. Because look, it's just God telling Arjuna, this is what this is. Look out for it.
Yeah,
all right?
yeah.
And when it happens, know that I'm with you. So, okay, that's brilliant.
Yeah.
Okay, God's with you all the time. Cool. All right, I like that. And the thing that really I've come away from it was this thing about, is this idea of us all having roles and responsibilities in our lives. So like, Arjuna doesn't want to fight the war that he's in, but Krishna's like, it's grand. As long as you're doing it without hate, love or desire going into the fight, and you're just doing it because that's your role, you're okay. Then you're not adding extra karma. You're fine. Do you know what I mean? It's only by doing things with desire, lust, hate, yada yada yada. That is what accumulates karma. So if you do those things, if you do things by just living in the moment and seeing them for what they are, you don't accumulate karma, and that's what the name of the game is.
Yeah. Well, with the provision, I suppose that doesn't mean that you just follow orders. The doing the thing that you are aware is a shitty thing just because that's the accumulation of karma.
Yeah.
But
like it points at this idea of true will and stuff like that, but like true will is a much later idea. What's his name? Eliphas Levi was kind of the first to kind of write about it, really.
It filters through, but it adds an actual term. Yeah. Probably, yeah.
But there's stuff like that as well, like.
It's to put it in context for people, it's part of a bigger the Mahabharata, is that it's part of it's a small section of Krishna as the charioteer of Arjuna as he just got into battle with the Romeo and Juliet type situation with his family, that they're two warring factions, but they're related, aren't they? It's part of the same family.
Yeah, that's why he doesn't want to fight, because he's going to be killing.
For fuck's sake. God goes, actually. Yeah, wonderful. There's a lot of different versions of it, and people have their own kind of version of it, but it's in so many lists of like top 3 books that you should read. The Bible and Patanjali, like stuff. It
explains
like that,
as well, like there's it explains as well that like a bit like the Vedics would, that's who they base it on, kind of thing. But there's more than one path to spiritual enlightenment. Like karma yoga is just doing what you should do. So that's true will, as
doing essentially doing your dharma, like that. Yeah.
And then there's like Bhakti yoga, which means just devotion to a god. And then like later in the book, he's like, doesn't really matter which god you pick because they're all part of me anyway.
Yeah.
So it's fine. And then there's just like it's how to meditate properly, and it's really
the Raja yoga and all. Does he mention Raja yoga by name in the Bhagavad Gita? It's been a while since I read it. No, that's a later thing, isn't it?
As far as I know, he doesn't. No.
Yeah.
No, I don't think so. No, but it's I wouldn't say, changed my mind on a lot of stuff. I learned tons from it. I think it's fucking profound book. And your man's, what's good about this version, Nicholas Sutton is his name. He has done his own translation, and then what he'll do is he'll take 6, 7 verses kind of thing. Or sometimes there's 3 actually, and he'll say, well, this is what he means here. And then he'll back it up by using the interpretation of other people as well. And even stuff that conflicts with it. He'll say, well, this is what Magick says, and this is what says. My personal feeling is I think Krishna means this.
Right.
Which is good, because you're getting to see both sides of the argument on stuff that isn't so clear,
Yeah, that's helpful because it's you're not trying. It's not pushing your own agenda.
Yeah.
It's trying.
There's no point picking up the Bhagavad Gita in just the poetic form, like in the verse, because you won't get it.
No,
you just won't. Like, there's too many names.
And it's probably even hard to buy that because nearly everyone has some sort of commentary, whatever. The one I read first was the Hare Krishna one, and it's nice and you learn a lot, but essentially everything he brings everything back to just chant Hare Krishna. But what about no, just chant Hare Krishna. Right?
Shouldn't I give money to the homeless man? No. Say just chant Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Women are equal. No. Anything else you want? No. Oh, right. Okay.
Fair enough.
Okay. Continuing my trend. Oh, the fabled actual books of the Baptist Head. each on sale for $2,000 on Amazon. I'll have Who's buying them? No one.
Nobody.
No one's paying $2,000 for them. So it's the Blood of the Saints, the Urn, and the Desert of Roses. Now they're available online as PDFs. And why do I like these? I like these because it's, again, coming from, say, the Advanced Magic for Beginners, which I think is written in the middle of this, if I'm remembering correctly. It's two guys, two normal guys decide that they're going to become enlightened and document it, and then become enlightened. and that's it. So the next book, what's great about it is that they're so open about it, and that you can just see that it's not just for people who are living in caves or going to India, even though subsequently Alan does go to India.
And it's not a book that's written to be a book.
No.
That's what I love about it. You know what I mean? It's not like, oh, I have an idea to write a book and then sit down and write a book. No, that's not what it is at all. It's just a documentation of the things they did to get from A to B.
Yeah, and it's essentially a collection of blog posts from the website. So it's like there's no knowledge of the end in the first couple. So they don't know to get awakened. So there's no, there's like, and if you were writing a book, you would, if you're writing it back. So it's a direct how they were feeling at the time, what's going on, and some great kind of advice and great pointers, and you get a great reading list from it as well. And that's where I found Daniel Ingram and any amount of other people. Yeah, really, really good books. You read them quite early too, didn't you? They were.
Yeah, I loved them. Yeah, flew through them as quick as I could. I must pick them up again or go through them again. They're good fun. They don't like, they take it seriously, but also like there's crack in it as well. There's fun in it too, and like they can be doing these like hardcore type of jhana meditations and all, where they're digging deep into their souls and all the kind of digging up shit. Horrible, nasty stuff. But then, like in the next one, they'll be like, "Yeah, let's just call up a demon because, like,
Why not?
my neighbor looked at me funny or whatever it is." It's it's good. Yeah, it's fun and there's a lot to learn in it.
And subsequently, then Duncan did Occult Experiments in the Home. There's 2 volumes of that, which kind of is nearly like the next day after the Baptist Head. Alan went on and did any number of things, but which we come back to because I have one more Alan Chapman book to do. But yeah, huge fan of both Duncan and Alan, and I would recommend Aion. Again, people really dislike, and it happened at the time and it happened since, really dislike people saying that they have become enlightened or awakened. They think it's like a taboo that shouldn't be broken. It's not for you to claim that. It's something that other people are to say about you, but you should never. That it's kind of boastful or egotistical to think it or whatever. I can see where you're coming from, but that the problem that leads to is that everyone then thinks when they are having these experiences, which are normal experience given the work you're doing, given the things you're doing, that it's either scary or they think they're particularly, it's only happened to them and no one else has ever happened. You get into the chosen one, all of that kind of stuff. But there's no roadmaps, and like, how helpful is that? And the thing is that if an enlightenment awakening is possible, shouldn't there be a lot of people happening to? So do you actually think enlightenment or awakening is possible? I would suggest that maybe the people who really give out about it and people call them go, well, maybe they don't think it's possible, that it's for Buddhas, for gods, for some, elevated, not for us crappy, shitty people. How dare you say that you're, anything other than dirt or whatever, the thing is. So, I think there's more problems gained out about not talking about it than there is about talking about it. And so what? So what if a couple of people claim they're enlightened and they're not? By their fruits you shall know them, etc., etc. Next, have you something you...
Oh, let me see. From the bottom of the pile here. Jodorowsky's Psychomagic.
Yeah, Psychomagia.
Psychomagia is just the name of the film, though.
Well, no, it's the name of the book in the original. That's a translation.
Oh, yeah, translation, obviously. It's it's a weird book because at the start of it, they're like, "Yeah, look, we don't know how to write this book. So what we're going to do is it was a Spanish, I think, journalist, a Mexican journalist." And they're like, "Yeah, well, look, we haven't a clue how to write this book. So what we did was we just sat down with Alejandro with a tape recorder and he just went fucking nuts."
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And then they broke it up later on. And it's, there's a lot of biographical stuff in it, like where he came from, what got him into occult, what got him into healing and wanting to help people. Like he took, like in the middle of his, not too long after the start of his career, he just kind of took a year off and deputized with a shaman in Mexico. Just hung around with her all the time. And like, he says, like, she used to do that trick. I remember in the end of the Andy Kaufman film, Jim Carrey, the guy pulls out the bit of cancer. And,
yeah. It's the John Scott does that as well. Yeah.
He says that, she used to do that, but she still cured people. You know, and
well, I mean, the thing about that is that it can be seen as two things. It's meant to look like you're taking the thing out, so it has the psychosomatic placebo.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
but there's also the notion that you can transfer the badness from one piece of meat to another, so it's rubbing the meat against the cancer thing and taking it away. There's many different things, but most people just go fraud.
Yeah.
Okay, but like, is it working?
Well, Jodorowsky's whole idea is like, truth doesn't really matter. You know, what matters is that things get resolved. You know, and I like that. He was
which would you prefer to be true? You know, to be right or to be healed? Which?
Or to be alive.
An awful lot of people would say truth, though, and that's fair. That's fine. Yeah.
No,
but
you're
who's
a long
truth?
time dead.
Which truth?
No, you're a long time dead. I don't want to be dead. You know. It's just you know, it's based on I don't know which was first, actually, the film or the book. Probably the film was maybe first. I'm not too sure. But anyway, we've spoken about the film before. It's great because what it does is he takes people who have some emotional problems in their life. He looks at it from another point of view. He might do a tarot reading that'll help him, but then he'll give them a ritual to perform, because his idea is that, look, it's the inner self that's crying out to you, needs help. It's telling you through your dreams, through your reactions, through your biases, through your family relationships, whatever it is. But you need to act on these things and perform a ritual so that you can begin the healing process. And it's like, fucking hell, that's genius. You know what I mean? Like, as far as I'm concerned, anyway.
And the communication, like, I mean, if your subconscious can only contact you in symbols, the only way to fix that is by symbols.
Exactly. It's to talk back to them and doing something symbolic. You know what I mean? Whatever it is, going out into your garden under a full moon and
painting your penis gold.
I was going to say bury a potato, but okay, you went with the penis. Sorry.
You see, the thing is about it as well, they can just kind of feel that it's absurdism or whatever, but he definitely has a reason why he's doing all of it. You're not just painting your penis gold because do something weird. They're related to something. Like, it's like the one where he gets your woman to make friends with a tree. I mean, that's what he's, because she's lonely, or he thinks that she's afraid she's going to be lonely. So it's like, just because you might, you know, why am I covering myself in milk? Oh, well, I mean, the reason, he does have a reason. I don't think it's just do something weird. It'll be he explains it better than I can explain it. But, like, you know, like, there's a lot of periods, though. There really is. But,
well, we don't have them, so we don't understand. We never will. No, but I love Jodorowsky. I'd have him as a saint of the Church of Spud, for sure. Oh, I'd like to be a saint in his Church of Jodorowsky Magic. But
Ministry of Funny Walks.
He's a genius. He's a great man, and I can't say anything bad about him. No.
I'm going to do two books together because they serve somewhat the same function. And the first one is The Mind Illuminated by I can never pronounce the name right. Kuladasa, maybe Kuladasa, and Ashton Core Teachings of the Buddha, Daniel Ingram. So Magick Core Teachings of Buddha is everything you would ever possibly ever want to know about meditation from a Buddhist perspective, and all the different states and stages and maps and everything. I mean, it can be almost too much, you know what I mean? You can get I find you can get bogged down in an awful lot of it. And the underlying kind of principle of this, what I got from it, your mileage may vary, is that severe amounts of effort has to be applied in order for you to get anywhere, which I dispute. But I also understand that it's a part of it too. But it's like, you know, that kind of stuff we talked about before, where you have to, you know, 30 things a second you have to note, and, you know, it seems a very obsessive look at meditation, and the book is a reflection of that. It's quite an obsessive look at meditation, but totally get it, because it'll orientate you and it'll, you know, read through it, and even if it's a case of what's going on, you'll find the answer of at least what certain people thought what was going on, you know, within meditation practice. This one, the Mind Illuminated, is again similar, but it's kind of takes an awful lot of the jargon out of it, and kind of in some sense takes a bit of the context out of it as well, of where it's come from, but has the same kind of, it has a good practice, it'll set you on the path why you're doing this particular practice, this meditation practice, and then gives you, I want to say 10 stages, 10, 8, 6, something like that. It gives you a map of a progression map, so you can place yourself and orientate yourself within a certain hierarchy of awakening.
So which one of them would you read first?
Oh, I'd say that one first, actually, because it would get you in. He has had an interesting end to his career. He got divorced because he had a girlfriend, and then his wife said something along the line, "You can keep all your money, I won't look at anything," because, you know, he was sick and she expected him to die really quick, and then he hung around for, you know, what an idiot, or what an awful man, hung around for another couple of years rather than dying immediately, and then it got all really nasty between them, and don't Google him, he's like, I mean, it's just, if you're looking for problematic stuff, you'll find Noel in everyone, but yeah, it's really good. There's a good audiobook of it too, but it's one of those books that you're going to read like that much, and then you're going to stop, because it's, you know, this is stage 1, and you kind of have to sit with that for a couple of months or whatever it is. But yeah, that'd be my two kind of meditation, like, kind of in a sense, are you really going for this? Are you going to try, you know? And I know a number of people who've gained awakening, particularly from Daniel Ingram, and a couple of people from the Mind Illuminated system. It's kind of a system. It gives you a thing.
It's not one I've picked up yet, but I've meant to. You know, I'll give you my.
I mean, again, like when you're saying essential, like, I mean, I would recommend it. Would I recommend it to you? Probably not. But it could have been something I recommended to you 2 years ago.
Yeah.
So it depends. Like, I mean, if you have an established practice, you're already on the thing. Probably. I would say don't get the Daniel Ingram book, even if it's an established practice and you're had some sort of experiences, whatever, because there's enough information that you think of it as like a cross reference, or, you know, like a reference book. You go, what's the story with Janice? It's there. You know, yeah. What's concentration practice? What's the difference? All of that's there. Like, what should I be expecting when my world fall apart? All there. And a whole section where Daniel gets annoyed with Buddhism and people in Buddhism. It's good stuff. And there's a bit more in the second one about magic as well, because he's big into magic, is Daniel, which I didn't realise. I hadn't read the first version of the book, but he's actually more into magic than Buddhism. So, which you wouldn't know from reading a book that's a hardcore look at Buddhist thought.
There's I read it from cover to cover, except for the last section where it's all about himself and his life, because it's well, whatever, I have enough of your book, man, I'm sick of you.
Yeah, but he also says, I'm putting this in because that's, people have asked me to do it. Skip it. You know, it's not, you know, who cares?
Skip it.
Yeah.
It's not a particularly hard book to read, but it's just it's kind of like,
yeah, but it's easy to read and understand, but there's a lot in it.
It's kind of like if you've ever like sat down with someone who's taken speed and you haven't taken speed, and they're talking at you.
Yeah, that's exactly
what. That's what reading that book is like, and it's all about like Buddhism and meditation. Yeah, I'll give you my Buddhist stuff.
Okay.
So what the Buddha taught, that's like tiny book, 140 pages, 130 odd pages. Like, that's short and to the point, you know, which is what I liked about that. There's another one I read. I didn't finish it, on Scribd. And it's pointing out the great way, the stages of meditation in the Mahamudra tradition. That's by Daniel P. Brown. That book is worth like €1,000 or something like that, and it can't be bought. But like, luckily, it's on Scribd. That's really good too. And after I read Ingram's, I took a break from Buddhism because I fucking needed it. And then I was sitting in someone's car one day. Yeah, I was with the father, and I was sitting in his car, and I just went looking through Buddhism, and I saw this book was up, and I started, and I demolished a good bit of it really quickly. And yeah, I have to say I prefer it to Ingram's. But yeah, Ingram's is still a very handy one to have, you know.
Cool. Now to change things dramatically. Ka-ting! The KLF.
Yeah, this one I don't have my copy. I'll give it away to someone. But yeah, that has to be on it.
Chaos, Magic, and the Band Who Burned £1 Million. This is the best book in Magic ever. Ever. And it's not even necessarily a book about magic. Well, it is. Totally is. It's a book of magic and a book about magic. But it's also about a band. It's just, I love this book so much. There's something about it that just makes me joyous to be alive. And I have the book, I have the ebook, I have the audiobook. I've bought this, I don't know how many times to give to people. Brilliant. Even if you don't care about the KLF, which I didn't really care about the KLF.
I don't. I'm not into their music.
Yeah. They're two of the most fascinating people in the world. I just love them. And this John Higgs is just one of the best writers in the world. He's expert at putting things in context. And just showing you the world where everything exists in, and rather than just going did this, but it's like it leads up to that. It goes off in a tangent. It talks about Alan Moore for a while. It talks about Robert Anton Wilson. It talks about chaos magic. It has the whole kind of, and by the time it all comes together in the big event, you know exactly what it is, and he even has his own kind of view in it. He's two endings: what it is, what he thinks, and then what he really thinks. But it's right. It's the symbolic thing and the actual reality of it. But it's just, I don't know.
I hope he does a Crowley book. I really hope he does a Crowley book. It'd be the best Crowley book, without doubt. It'd be brilliant.
I'm just, there's something about Bill Drummond. All I remember when I think of Bill Drummond is that the documentary, and it's not even the best KLF documentary, where they're talking to Jimmy Cauty at the end. It's just, what do you think? What's the story? And Jimmy's having a very serious conversation. And Bill Drummond's in the background sawing wood. And I just goes, this is just too perfect. This is exactly it. It's like glorious. Yeah, that's 20 out of 20 Peter Kingsley's. There's no question of it.
He's a genius writer. He is. I love all the books that I've read or listened to. Yeah, they're just class. I love them. I won't have a bad word said about John Higgs ever.
Yeah,
brilliant, absolutely brilliant.
We better speed up a bit because our hour has already gone. I'll do two quick ones.
Have you any Carl Jung there? I want to talk about Carl Jung.
I was going to do the red book and then go, is that like, what's the first Carl? Well, I'll come back then. What's the first Carl Jung book you should read? What? Where do you start?
First one.
Like, how do you get into Carl Jung? How you get into Carl Jung is you read someone else talking about Carl Jung.
Yeah.
Like even his biography, I think, was actually the first one I read, and like supposedly that's mostly rewritten and edited subsequently by people who wanted him not to come across as too mystical. Red Book's great, but you need to kind of be in it.
You wouldn't start up.
No, you need to be in this to get to the Red Book. Answer to Job, it's probably a good one because it's easy enough to read, but it's kind of mind blowing in how he looks at things, particularly the relationship between humanity and God, and you could get a flavour from that way of his approach and where he's coming from. But so what?
Sure, I had to put Aion.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because
Aion.
The secret of the world is in there.
Jordan Peterson says it's the most dangerous book in the world. And,
Jordan Peterson says a lot of things.
Yeah, oh man.
What?
Yeah.
How is that car still crashing? What the hell is going on?
And getting worse. The momentum is picking up. It's just picking up. It's unbelievable. Yeah. I recently read it with the audiobook, as I was saying. Again, I first approached Aion by listening to other people talking about it because I thought, going by what people say about it, it's tough. Carl Jung is not tough to read in the sense of that you would, when you read like Crowley and it's just flowery language and it's mad and you kind of go, what is he on about towers and bloody Babylon and all this?
Yeah.
That's not why Carl Jung's
hard to read. Carl Jung's fairly easy.
You look at the paragraph and go, I understand every word in that sentence, how it said, whatever. It's just the level he's operating at involves you having to go, right, I need to step up my game here a bit. But it's not that the words or the way he writes. The way he writes is really excellent. It's lovely. It's lovely to read.
Yeah. He gives the secret of a good life in this. So he says, he gives the secret why we all have problems and what we need to do to become gods. He says, man Man knows only a small part of his psyche, just as he has only a very limited knowledge of the physiology of his body. Man's consciousness was created to the end that it may recognize its descent from a higher unity. Sorry, I'll read that bit again. So man's consciousness was created to the end that it may, number 1, recognize its descent from a higher unity. 2, pay due and careful regard to this source. 3, execute its commands intelligently and responsibly. And 4, thereby afford the psyche as a whole the optimum degree of life and development. That's it. The secret life. That's it. You know what I mean? He gave it in a sentence.
With 4 parts.
with 4 parts, yeah. That's it. That's it. Know that you came from something. Be thankful for it. Live well. And, you're grand. You're grand,
Oh, you should do Cliff Notes, Spud's Notes on Aion. Be grand, just be cool.
You're grand.
Yeah. And the whole bit where he's talking about the necessity of why Lucifer, that whole section is brilliant. Where he's talking about we took evil out of God from Catholicism and Christianity, and this necessitated the whole kind of a separate being, because all of it's really good. And it's like talks about the different symbolism as well. The fish stuff. There's a whole section of that fish stuff that we were talking about with Philip K. Dick earlier on. The self. What is the self? If you want to know what the self is, it's there. It'll explain exactly what the self is. And then there's lots of stuff at the end, which it explains Gnosticism by using pyramids. Very interesting. Yeah, brilliant. Of course, the archetype stuff, people mostly get wrong. So it's worth reading. And Red Book. What's the one? Is it the Discovery of Self? Whatever that one's called. Oh, I've moved all my books, so I don't know where they are. That's it. The Undiscovered Self. That's it. It's great as well. So many. Just buy everything you can of Carl Jung and read them. There's a collection of his work on active imagination as well, which is quite good. Yeah. So
Aion is part 2 of a thing, isn't it? I think the archetypes and the collective unconscious, I think, is before it. And then Aion is part 2, because he goes into more about the archetypes in obviously in the first part rather than the second part. Yeah,
it's the second last book, isn't it? Aion. He wrote one after it.
Is it? Yeah.
One or two. So Ramsey Jukes. S.S.O.T.B.M.E. I can never remember it. It's Sex Secrets of the Black Magicians Exposed. This is another. Just read it. It's a great kind of orientation in magic and how to different approaches to it. And Ramsey Jukes is the real deal, absolutely real deal. And this is totally worth your time. Sorry for glossing over, but we are running out of time. Patrick Harper's Daimonic Reality. Buy all of Patrick Harper's books and read them all. But if you're going to buy one, this is kind of the most famous one. If you like Rune Soup and kind of all the cool stuff of Rune Soup and all the kind of, if you take about all the politics out of Rune Soup, this is much better than that. But that's what it is, and it's like, it's so, takes all of these kind of things together, like the whole idea of, say, fairies, demons, the phenomena, all of this, and kind of situates us and tells you what it is and brings it all together, and just brilliant. I felt like when I read this, it was like it just took all the loose ends of 20 years of reading a million books and put them. Yeah, that's what it is. I'm going, oh, thanks very much, Patrick. I was looking for that. Just kind of puts it all together. And I suppose his main kind of thing is that one of his main things is that this thing presents itself as different things over the years, depending on where we're at. So once it was fairies, now it's UFOs, then it'll be something else, but it's the same. He's a big fan of James Hillman, which of course would be seen as a counter initiative. In that, from a Peter Kingsley point of view, because he would say that James Hillman, who was a guy who came after Carl Jung, took Carl Jung's teaching and turned it upside down. But I don't know, I find it good. You like Patrick Harper too? You enjoy?
Oh yeah, of course, yeah. That book's deadly because it's like. It's not that it quite has a new idea, but it's that it just takes lots of ideas and puts them all together and puts them very neatly in a box that you can understand and go, Jesus, how have none of us put 2 and 2 together and got 4 before?
Yeah. Yeah, it's like it's like a finishing book or something. It's like there, and this is almost like, what's the first book of magic you should read? Advanced Magic for Beginners. Then read 50 more books, and then you finish with Daimonic Reality, because it'll square it all away and then go, here's something. And this is how where that fits. It's really good. Do you want to do one? You want to fly through a few?
You know what? There's nothing. There is nothing else that's really important. Look, Raja Yoga is really good, but it's badly written, and there's lots of stuff in it that are weird. Like, apparently you can live forever if you drink water through your nose in a bowl.
Oh right, okay.
He knew, like, there's guys in it who live to like 250.
The guy who wrote that died though, didn't he? No, that's strange.
He's dead. Swami Vivekananda, who I think died on Independence Day in America. Saw that the other day. But it's good because it's my style of meditation and yoga and spirituality. It's that, like, you don't need all the bells and whistles. You can just sit down and, close your mind and then open it and then just be blown away by the craziness and madness. Well, that's good. If you're into mysticism, get that one. Evelyn Underhill. It's
we make a list of all of these rather than making.
Yeah, the print is very small. It is a pain in the arse to read, but it's very good because she goes into, like, Trays of Avalon and all the other ones, Buddhist mystics, Christian mystics. Well, it's mostly Christian mystics, in fairness, but quite a lot. What else is there? No, that'll do. Oh, because I'm on a Philip K. Dick.
VALIS.
I'm on a Dick thing at the minute. VALIS deadly, so it is. Bit at the end where he meets Sophia. Jesus.
VALIS is his attempt to make exegesis consumable.
Yeah, to make sense of his exegesis. Yeah. There's 2 other books on it as well, and it's like, this guy was onto something, lads. We should not be dismissing him at all. Like,
I think it's people. Excuse me, people just don't understand, or because the exegesis wasn't available until quite recently, so maybe it will be. Tantra Illuminated by the notorious Harish Christopher Wallace. That's brilliant. If you want to know about Tantra, that's it. That's just literally the book. That's it. Wouldn't want anything more. As Crowley, book 4, the big blue version, which is quite considerably dearer than the Doctor, not a medical doctor version, but I mean, there's not anything different in it than there is, other than Skinner's snarky.
He makes fun
Crowley
of it.
has the clue what he's on about thing. But if you want to know, like, that's all the only book you probably ever really need to buy in Crowley, unless you want to get into it. You know what I mean? That's book 4, and there's plenty of versions of it. Anyway, it's not just that one. My final one, a book I have both loved and hated at different times, Magia, pronounced Mageri, which is it? I don't know how he gets the pronounced MERGERE or something. He says it's pronounced
Magier.
Magier, yeah, it's Magia.
Even no one.
Yeah. The thing about Magia, what I really like is that it's a bit like the Patrick Harper stuff or the other thing. There's nothing new in this. You know what I mean? It's the same, and it's not claiming anything new. It's the perennial golden thread. It's the same teachings that's been taught forever, but in a kind of a new form. It's written. It's kind of easier to digest written than it probably is in the audio, because you kind of go, "What's wrong with Alan's voice? Why is he sounding pissed off? What is going on there?" Particularly the storm, which I love, which is one of my favorite things. But it's kind of as if he's reading, going like, "Yeah, so the fishermen. I've told this fucking story a lot. The fishermen are getting a fish. There's a storm. No one's listening. They're going to get it wrong anyway. Anyway, the lightning. Yeah, you're the lightning. The sun. Yeah, come on, back your feet." So it kind of it works, and if you only ever listen to Alan Chapman's audios of him doing this, you think he's very, very serious. He's quite a funny man, which you'll know from the Baptist Head books. And like, there's a lot of humor, but there's no real humor in this, which is fine. You don't have to have humor and everything, but it works a lot better as a book. There's always something new in it that I find, and there's some of it when you look back and you go, "Oh yeah, no, I understand what's going on there. Yeah." And like thinking about when the first time I came across the Magia stuff and just went, "What?" What? To now you go, "Oh yeah, no, it kind of makes a lot more sense to me." I do like it. I just struggle with it sometimes. So. Which is, that's the thing we pointed at the beginning when talking about when you come up against something, you go, "Oh, why is this annoying me? What is this? I should look at that." Particularly with dreams or any of these kind of things. But I think there's no real essential book, because as cliche as it is and all of that, you're gonna what you need is going to be some way presented to you anyway. Like you're gonna end up in the right place. I do really dislike when books say that though, because so many people have said it that it kind of go, have you not read the 20 other books that say this? You know, when you go, this book is the way in your hands, not by accident. It's for, you know, you think destiny has brought you to this place.
Because I paid for it in the shop, of course.
Yeah, because I watched a YouTube video and a guy recommended it. Yeah. Now it's in my hand.
Yeah. Didn't fall from the fucking sky. Like.
But it's just like, I've read at least 25 books where that's mentioned in the first chapter, and you're going, no, well, yes, but also no, right? But yes, right. But no.
That's it then. From now on, anything that me and you ever write, it's going to be in the opening page. Yeah. This book is in your hand because you bought for it, or you illegally downloaded it. Yeah. Whatever. Yeah.
You were meant to listen to this podcast. There was no other thing that could have happened. It's not an accident that you're listening to this podcast. But anyway, I do kind of agree with that. Anyway, you will find the thing, but I don't think it. You know, the old kind of fable stories. And it's happened to David Icke. It happened to a number of people where you're directed to a bookshop and you go in and a book falls off and hits you in the head and opens the right page and there's a letter from God and it goes, good man, David, or whatever it is. I don't mean like that. I mean, it means that you will, if you go where you're going, you will, you know, what book interests you out of what we were talking about? Go with that. Go with the thing that interests you. You know, you listen to YouTube stuff. You'll find people talking about books. You'll be directed in that kind of a way, you know. And there's possibly some woo element to that, but it just really annoys me when people say it. But I do think it's also true. So yes, but no. And don't, just because a book is touted as being the greatest book of all time, if you don't like it, you don't like it. Simple as that.
Exactly. That's something that's forgotten in occult circles. If a book is badly written, it's badly written and it should be thrown away.
Yeah.
So there's no excuse for badly written books these days.
Yeah. And don't, if you're writing a book, right, don't pretend that it's the 1900s. Stop writing like that. Those who have eyes to see and pyramids to wander.
Oh, here's Peter again. Oh, stop, Peter. Will you? Stop.
Yeah. Only I can recognise the pyramid of the. You know, Peter Kingsley. I wouldn't say he's essential. I really like him. I've read everything. I enjoyed. I'm rereading Catafalque at the minute as well.
No, I like his books. The books I've read, I like his books. Yeah.
I recommend them, but it's like, again,
they're not essential.
No, and not, you know, never ever going to be someone's first book. You know, imagine, I want to get into the occult and awakening and stuff like that. What should you read? Catafalque by Peter Kingsley. That'll sort you out big time.
No.
Do you want to be talked at for 200 to 300 pages?
No. Read books.
Read loads of books. And I suppose the best thing, or the standard thing at the end is, what books have we missed out? What should we read? I'm always looking for new books. So what books?
Blood Meridian. Read Blood Meridian too. It's scary and it has no full stops. It's amazing.
Oh, I'm not sure I could do that. I already feel the anxiety building within my chest. Is there commas? Is there a paragraph?
Very few. Cormac McCarthy looks at other people's fondness for punctuation, shits all on it.
Right, that's it.
Bye everyone.
An hour and a half, Spud. An hour and a half.